What's up, guys? Welcome back. It's Timo with Timo Paints, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about wet edges when you're painting an interior job or an exterior for that matter, but mostly this will apply on interior jobs. If you guys are starting a paint business and you're interested in getting more leads for your paint job, check the link in the description below, and you'll get more leads, promise. So with that being said, let's talk wet edges and what does it mean, how to get it, and what does it mean? So a wet edge, I'm going to roll this footage here so I can kind of give you guys a visual of what I'm talking about. So what I'm doing here is I got hired on this job to do a one coat wonders, what I like to call it. The guy came in and he painted it himself, but he didn't do none of the brush work, none of the cutting in. So he hired me to come in, just cut it in. Well, unfortunately, it's hard to just do a touch-up job because you're going to spend just as much time walking around with the paintbrush trying to hit up the spots that you can visually see. Then as the sun shifts through the house, the lighting changes, you're going to see more spots. So my best advice to you is to go ahead and just put a nice, good, solid one coat. It could be a light coat on top of everything that's already been coated previously. So he didn't want to do it. He thought it looked fine, and he just needed me to touch up the tops and the bottoms where he hadn't brushed. However, I explained to him the situation is if I walked around for hours with the brush, I'm still not going to get every spot, and it's not going to look the way you want it to look. So with that being said, let's get back to the topic of the video, which is a wet edge. Now, paint always dries lighter. You know, we did a video on that explaining how paint dries darker. So paint always dries darker. We've done a video on that. And this is a good visual right here from this angle. So what I like to do is when I'm brushing and rolling a house on the interior walls, not doing the ceiling or anything, I like to cut in small sections. And by small sections, I typically mean like an entire wall before I brush. But I won't never brush in an entire room and then fall back and start rolling, because you're going to create some issues. You're going to get banding and what we call lap marks. And what banding or picture framing, some have called it, is if you're looking at a wall and on the perimeter of the wall you see like a little darker edge around the wall, it creates this like illusion that there's like a picture frame or a band around what you done painted. And the reason for that is when you brush, that brush line dries. Now you roll paint up on top of that brush line. Now you essentially have two layers of paint in that intersection where they overlapped. Look at this kitty. Oh, he's loving on the camera. Look at this dude. So what I like to do to avoid that is to brush in a whole wall. You know, I'll come left to right, then I'll fall back, grab the roller. It's helpful if you do have a helper, because you can just stick to keeping the brush and pushing a brush while he's rolling. You give yourself about a 10-minute head start to get a nice, good section wrapped or painted off for him so he can start rolling. That way you're not going to get any banding. You're going to push that wet edge. Same thing is true when you're doing baseboards or anything that's not going to get rolled. You always want to push a wet edge. So when you're pushing your paint across and you stop there, you want to make sure you get your next paint on there on back to where you lifted your brush, so you're not going to get any roping, because roping is a real thing and it is an issue and it will destroy a paint job. So I hope this video helps you guys out, man. Pushing a wet edge, we'll go over what we just talked about. Pushing a wet edge is keeping the wet paint. Anytime you lift the brush off and put the brush down, you want to put the brush back down onto a wet surface. That way you avoid the overlap marks. Also, same is true when you're doing trim and anything. Anytime you lift your brush, you put your brush down back on a wet painted edge. So I hope that helps you guys out. If it did, give me a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and check out the links below for some cool stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.